Commissioner Puentes downstairs.
Does he know the meeting's upstairs?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's check.
I think the TV's on downstairs. Commissioner, if you can hear me,
Good.
can you come up?
Hey, Frank, get up here.
There you go.
Commissioner Mesmer's not answering.
Right.
No.
All right, well, it's after 4:30, so I'm gonna call this special meeting of the Harlingen City Commission, which has been duly posted, this workshop, which has been duly posted to order. And first item is to ask for citizen communication.
We have two, and they want to be called, so I'm going to call Sarah Merrill first.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah, this is Myra with the City of Harlingen. I'm going to go ahead and put you on speaker, and you have 2 minutes to address the commission. And you can start
I
now.
don't need all of the 2 minutes, and Myra and I thought that I could speak for about a minute and then ask for some answers. Because I'm sure you must, in green Harlingen, which is so much greener than all the other cities in the valley, I'm sure you've been thinking about this, and you must already have a plan. So I'm very much interested in knowing what percent we used in renewables we purchase, what are the ongoing contracts we have, and how we can adjust that to get the most out of the renewable energy
They're working.
investments. As you know, cities generate over
Yeah.
70% of the
They're working on it.
greenhouse
They're gonna
gases.
put new ones up.
And we are in a serious climate crisis with many more days over 100 degrees than we've ever had, increasing vulnerability to this climate change extremes. I noticed that there's a large percentage, the largest percentage of energy comes from natural gas in Texas, and I assume that's true for us here, although natural gas is not a good transitional fuel. It has a very high carbon footprint. But the price is low, artificially low right now. Many of us have installed solar panels and are producing a net positive amount. And I know Harlingen has some wonderful rooftop solar installations that kind of are under the radar of a lot of people, but on top of elementary schools and other buildings. So if you could please comment on how you're working on this and how you plan to meet the American cities climate challenge, and certainly not through companies like Blackthorn and Westex that Georgetown fumbled over, but through careful calculation of our actual need. And so what are we doing about renewables here in
Sarah, your 2
Harlingen?
minutes are up.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Merrill. We appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. Okay, now we have Drew Thorne. He's the next one. Get him.
Tradition, Drew Thornton speaking.
Hi, this is Myra with the City of Harlingen. I was calling regarding the
Myra.
public comment. You have 2 minutes to
Yes.
address the commission, sir. You can start now.
Okay, hi, my name is Drew Thornton. I'm with Tradition Energy. We're the nation's largest energy procurement advisor. Also the group, also the exclusive energy advisor for Omnia Partners, which is a government purchasing cooperative the city's a member of. I've confirmed with our rep that the city's an active member. We've spent over $1 million to this cooperative the past couple of years. Would like an opportunity to compete for the energy procurement and management business for the city. Our pricing system is the single largest platform in the country for electricity suppliers to compete for business. We price about 500 million kilowatt hours of electricity a week through this system. We will bring 10 to 12 electricity suppliers to the table to compete for the city's business. I know that there is issues with ancillary and line loss charges in February. Fixing those with the price of the commodity is a standard offering for us, so there will be no issues from like that moving forward. not one of our cities that we manage across the state had issues from February. We can also assist the city with energy efficiency and any sort of ESG initiatives you guys have, such as solar or green energy. We pride ourselves on market research. We will give you the market research for ERCOT South Zone that will let you that will give you the data needed to make an informed decision on your procurement renewal. I've emailed and I responded to the RFP on July 29th. I would like an opportunity to compete for the business. I'm asking for 30 minutes of Mr. Cerna and Mayor Boswell's time to show you who we are, what we do, and why we are the energy advisor to help the city with this renewal. So
Are
is
you
there any questions from the mayor or Mr. Cerna?
questions?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Thornton.
Okay, what do I do now?
Your time is up to address the commission, and you can always contact us at our main office, and I can get with you after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and so that's it for citizen
That's it
communication. No
for
others have signed up. So item 1 is the presentation of possible action on proposals and options for the purchase of electricity for the city of Harlingen and its component units. Gabe?
Mayor, members of the commission, we're here to talk about the acquisition of electricity for the city. The only action that we're looking for tonight is which of these 3 options to pursue. I'd like to go over them in detail and then provide some greater insight as we go through them. The first option is to proceed with hiring a consultant. In your packet, you have a copy of the RFQ that we went out for. We advertised that in July 11th and July 18th. We did receive 7 respondents to that. What we would recommend, if that's an option the city wants to pursue, is let staff rank them and perhaps provide the 4 highest firms to you so that you don't have to go through all 7. Although you could interview all 7 if you choose to. The other is to have the city prepare requests for proposals that we would administer ourselves, send out to the public, and then just ask for quotes. Now, the only issue that we're going to have with any of these 3 is that if you do get a quote from somebody for the purchase of electricity, the price will not be held for 30 days or 2 weeks. It'll usually be for 2 or 3 days maximum. So what we're going to have to do is allow the city manager to be able to authorize the purchase of electricity within a certain range that the commission feels comfortable with. That should include ancillary charges and any other incidental charges as well. The only issue we're going to have with that option is that we're not going to be able to put together a contract. We're going to rely on the company giving us a contract and then give it to the attorneys so they can go over it and make sure that everything that we need in the contract is included. Specifically, the price per kilowatt hour and the inclusion of all ancillary charges in the price. The third option would be to use buy boards. I think the last gentleman mentioned one of them, Omnia. There's a whole slew of others that the city belongs to, buy board, TASP, HGAC, that we can look at and compare prices. Now, these buy boards have gone out and actually procured the purchase of electricity from vendors. Now, not all of them are going to give you the price that includes ancillary charges. So we would have to make certain that the quote we got to present back to the city would include any ancillary charges and incidentals in it. We are capable of doing any of these 3. And so we are just really looking for some direction so we can begin the process. As a reminder, the contract with TCAP ends December 2022. So the sooner we can procure the purchase of electricity and sign a long-term agreement, the better off I think we are. So like I said, we're not looking for any other action except to get direction on which option to pursue. And then that would give us guidance on how to go forward from this point.
Mayor, if I can ask a question, Gabe, on the option number 2, that would be more of a 2-step process, right? Because just authorizing the city manager to negotiate a contract isn't enough. It's also picking the provider that we're going to negotiate with. So I think first and foremost, we would have to select who the provider that I'm going to negotiate with would be, and then set parameters to stay within it during the negotiation process. Because right now it would be, who would you pick?
Right. what I had suggested with Dan, and I talked to him earlier was, and this is my strong feeling, we don't need a consultant. I think there's plenty of providers out there that this is the best chance and best leverage we have to negotiate is when you're doing a contract. So I discussed with Dan, there's things we can put into the contract. Number one, you kind of choose a range. I thought, 3.3 to 3.8 range, including all the charges. There were some other options about, let's say the price goes down. Everybody talks about the price going up. Well, what if the price goes down in the next 5 years? Do we have the option to pick up the better rate at the tail end of that contract? But then again, that's all through negotiations and whatnot that we can ask for a list of, the contracts that we're going out for must include X, Y, and Z. Okay? And you put that out and you let them fight for it. That's just the bottom line. There's a company here named Valiant that I had invited. I thought this was more of a workshop. I wanted them to show what a private company can do. Not that we have to go with them, but by going out for an RFQ and open up to anybody that wants to provide service for us, because I think we're a large enough entity that we have leverage to get the price that we want, I think. But there's things that I think the private independent people can do because they want your business that the larger companies aren't going to do, right? And I didn't want to misspeak, so I thought maybe they can explain to you, hey, here's the things that you need to watch out for in the contracts. This company does business with several other entities here in the valley. So there's a reason I think that other cities are going with them, right? We don't have to be on buy board. We don't have to be with part of the big company. We don't have to do a long-term contract. Y'all feel comfortable doing a 3-year, 4-year, whatever it is. It's all up to, I guess, again, what you kind of pick and choose, and then they can tell you they're going to do it or not. And right now, I think everybody's fighting for business, and it's a real opportunity to save some money. So can they speak for a little bit on the stuff that are in contracts?
Commissioner, I don't know who they are, and I didn't invite anybody to speak.
No, I know, I did, because I thought it was a workshop, right? And I thought, like I said, because you told me you weren't very familiar with the contracts of energy and stuff. So I like them to explain, to educate us on the contract of things that we may want to ask for. Now, I'm not telling you that we need to do business with them, but this is a company that can tell you, this is what we should ask for in the contract. This is what things to look out for. So that we can all hear and understand, and then we put those things in writing when you go out for the RFQ. Because a lot of times it's like, well, it's kind of like trading in a car and saying, well, this is the payment I want. Well, the dealership's going to make the most money as they can, just so they give you a payment. The same thing with buying electricity. I want to make sure that we look at all the items that are important in the contract so we can make an informed decision. And when you put out that RFQ, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I agree with you, putting a range that authorize you to take action when needed with the best company that's going to give you, whether it is a small guy or the bigger guy, but at least we know what we're able to ask for.
Okay, I'd like to clarify one thing though. If we do go with option number 2, it wouldn't necessarily be with just one company.
I know.
We would have to open it up to any rep
Anybody. That's,
that wants to give us a bid,
yeah, I understand that.
but it would have to meet our parameters of including the ancillary charges,
Correct.
any other line item
Yes, sir.
charges. So, but the issue though is that we would have to give them a date, saying, for instance, we need a quote for energy Friday morning
Yeah, that's
by
right.
10 o'clock,
Exactly.
and then we can compare all the rates.
Yes.
At that
So
time.
you have yes, I
Right,
agree.
and if nobody meets the rate, then we say, okay, we're not going to accept any
Right.
rate. We're going to wait a week, 30 days to do it all over again.
Right, and then give the city 30 days to do it because there's plenty of time.
But does the city commission want to select who that negotiation takes place with?
I think you would go with the top 3, no, just like an architectural thing. That if your negotiations fell for the first one, then you go to the second one, and then to go to the second one, it goes to the third one, and then those 2
I
things.
think that this challenge on my end, Commissioner, I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying the challenge on my end is if I get very exact proposals from 2 different firms, selecting the one that I go with may triggers questions, why that one and not the other one? So I would almost prefer that the commission select who I negotiate with and then
Well,
negotiate
that's
it
fine.
at a
And
perfect time.
You can bring back the top 3 that for a certain time period, like I guess at 30 days. right? We give you a 30-day window. That's 2 meetings, right?
Mhm.
And we can put out the next meeting in the next month or so.
Give me a second. I do have several questions. You're looking at Valiant, right?
Mhm.
You're looking at this Valiant Energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
No, I'm not suggesting you go with them. I'm suggesting that there are private companies that we don't need a consultant for, that we don't need to spend an extra $150,000 on top of the bill, right?
Richard, excuse me, sir. This is one of the things that I looked at over the weekend. Mr. Gonzalez ended up putting this paper on everybody's packet for the RFQ, if that's
I don't
right.
have it.
term. Okay.
But-
Now, on this, there was only one that returned it back that had both consulting services and engineering, what is it? Engineering professionals. Okay. Theirs was just consulting services.
Right.
Okay. At the meeting on Wednesday, I asked, I was looking at you because we were looking at, I brought up something to the effect of who would pay for damages if something went wrong. Okay, now there's a particular, one of these consultants that had 1 million as an insurance policy. Okay, the others, there was 2 or 3, including Tasby. If there was any damages or any mess up like this, $649,000 that we owe,
Right.
we could sue them, but only for their fees. That was it.
Well,
Only one of them came up with, hey, if I mess up, you can come after me for $1 million. That's the max.
yeah, I agree with
So-
you 100%, because anything we choose will be contingent upon the attorneys vetting it and scrubbing through it and making sure that it's correct.
Well, what I'm looking at is because of this huge amount that we owe, okay, you have the right consultant, okay? They'll be able to work in conjunction with the attorney and make sure they wouldn't get messed up. They will understand the lingo of the electricity terms, okay? That's what I'm looking at.
But I think the attorneys are smart enough to go to the link.
What's that?
The attorneys are smart enough to decipher all that.
Well, beg to differ, sir. Because the last attorney that did this, we got stuck with 649,000. Okay? This same person, the same consultant, okay, thanks to Dan, he said, hey, Edinburgh didn't get it, they did not get hit with any type of 600 or any type of hit with, during the February, okay? Freeze, they did not. What was the difference? Guess what I did? I called Edinburgh. He never returned my calls. But guess what I ended up doing? I looked around and I found Edinburgh's name in here. So on this particular one, he signed a contract, or he did business with him in 2015. So yes, we had a big problem in February, but Edinburgh did not get hit with any type of fees, exorbitant amount of fees that we did. Okay, so he's trying to protect ourselves for the future.
But don't you think we can ask for that same protection? Because again, I think what everybody learned from the freeze was to make sure we don't have that clause in our contract saying, and that we've already paid for.
Yeah, but.
Right? And that's why we're being real careful on how the selection process goes.
Why do you,
But all I'm saying, sir, all I'm saying, I agree with you. You know, put that as one of the terms of saying, we're gonna, you know, the contract must include this language. And if you want protection, I'm sure it'll be built into the cost of the contract.
why reinvent the wheel? You already have somebody.
Because I don't want to spend $150,000 on a consultant.
And they can do that. The
Are you
attorneys,
sure?
Yeah, the
it's
attorneys can do it.
Are you sure it's
We don't-
$150,000?
and so can Dan.
Yes, that's what, the last one was it was $30,000 a year for the length of the contract. At 5 years, it's $150,000.
Okay, you go there, okay? How much do we owe? 649,000, okay? What kind of benefits did we get by paying 30,000 a year?
Again, sir, we already know,
We
didn't know
lost.
everything. I
We
don't wanna
lost.
hire a consultant.
And that's the reason we don't want to hire a consultant.
Yeah, I don't.
So we don't have to spend
If we
that.
don't fix it, it's gonna
And
be
I
on our
think-
ass Anyway.
I think between Dan and staff and the mayor, they
And
can
the
take care of
attorneys.
those issues before. We don't need to, we don't need another consultant. We've already learned our lesson. Now we know what to do, so why spend the money on it?
The thing is, ultimately, we have to ask the right questions. That's what I'm saying. Give us the opportunity to put those parameters in place. Let him go do his work.
So you want to
Look at the
hire an
budget.
attorney, you want to hire a consultant?
Yeah,
I
they
disagree.
provide us with the services
Do you have a
to make sure
particular,
that we're covered.
do you have a consultant in mind?
This one right here.
Don't you think that, okay, so should we put an RFQ out and give other consultants the same opportunity?
We got 7. We got 7. And out of the 7, this is the one
How
who
much
did
is that gonna
business
cost?
with,
How much? is that gonna
Edinburgh.
cost? How much would that cost?
according to,
We would-
Gabe over there, it would be 30.
We'd have to negotiate that.
We haven't negotiated any fees because we haven't selected any consultant. So
No.
there hasn't been anything negotiated at this point.
I'm just.
I want to throw this in the mix. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to throw this in the mix.
Go ahead.
Even if we go out for a two-step process, I'm going to say that again, and we don't like what we get back, or we don't end up where we want to end up, the buy board option is always going to be an option.
Right.
That is a state
Right.
procurement process
Right.
We can
that is
follow.
available to us at any point, at any given time.
So,
And I agree with that.
So today I'll-
The point of the exercise, of what I was trying to say is, I think I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you just shop it out. And look at the buying power that you have. That's what everybody's discounting. You have a huge buying power that I like to leverage. And you bring up a very good point of parameters that you want to set in. I think we can put that into the contract, build it into the contract, and the attorneys would facilitate that without having to pay $150,000 a year.
I think what it would be,
For-
Commissioners,
for attorney.
I think what it would be, Gabe, Robert, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. It would be a request for qualifications, but for energy providers, not energy consultants.
Correct.
That way.
Thank you.
That way I'm listening, I'm paying
You're
attention.
Okay,
And then we would bring those energy providers, not consultants, providers back, we would bring them all back to y'all. And y'all tell me, This is the
Because
one-
Provider's gonna go out and talk to those same people the consultants are gonna talk to, and it's all coming from the same place, all coming from the same plan.
and we can always bring them back. The commission can inform me, this is the person we want you to stay within these parameters and strike when the iron's hot and execute an agreement that covers ancillary type charges,
Mhm.
that covers those type of parameters.
Yep.
Now, I think we can write it up that way. I'm staring at Robert.
You're talking about- you're
Robert,
basically
Robert, your
talking
job
about
is to say yes.
You're basically talking about
Okay,
insurance.
well, there's really a threshold question here, because if we, and that's whether you want to go with a consultant.
yes.
And if the commission doesn't want to go with a consultant, then really the default is really option 2 with with also, it's really kind of 2 and 3, because you can do both at the same. you can
Right.
do both at
Exactly.
the
We can do
same
both at
time.
the same time.
right.
And,
And then see what the
So-
best option.
The benefit with
So,
buy board
I
is
mean,
I
I
can call
think-
them all.
you know,
Right.
so if you, Commissioner, if you want to make that
There's no motion. It's a
So-
workshop.
motion, we haven't heard, I think, what I'm hearing over here is that Commissioner Uribe and Commissioner Puente don't think we need to go out for a consultant, but we haven't put it to a vote.
So today we just need to we just need to agree on options 1, 2, or 3.
Right, so the first one, the first option
It's a
that
vote.
we've been given is
It's
hire
a
a
workshop.
consultant.
So
And so if we don't hire a consultant, then it sounds to me like you can do both 2 and 3, right?
correct.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
I mean, you can send out requests for proposals.
Yes.
For
And you
energy
can also
providers.
take a look at what the buy
Energy
board,
provider.
you can also take a look at what the buy board is offering at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes.
I agree
And
with
then
it.
you'll have it all, you kind of have everything.
Okay.
So to me, it's really kind of 1 and 2 rather than 1, 2, and 3, but
For 2
Or
and
2 and 3.
I would go, but I think that, kind of the threshold question, I mean, Commissioner Morales has made some good points about the benefits of having a consultant. It's just a question of whether or not that's what you want to do. So
do we need to make a motion at this
No.
time?
It's a workshop. Can
Well,
I vote?
there's an action item.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
So-
awesome.
Well,
So
you
if I
don't
like-
you don't need to make a motion, but I think what we're looking for is
Consensus.
some
Right.
direction. And so right now, they don't have it because I don't know whether a couple of the commission, it sounds to me, Well, clearly Commissioner Uribe is not interested in the consultant. I think I heard Commissioner Fuentes say
Right.
he's not interested in the consultant. I know that Commissioner Morales is
How you
interested.
doing? I mean, reading.
So,
It's up to you, buddy.
Commissioner Bettis, what's your view of this issue? We haven't heard from you.
What? I know. Be like, for me, it's. I see the point that both of you are making, and I see the point that you're making, Frank. But I just want to verify something. If we get a consultant, we do have to pay him, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, and then the average. I know you can't-
But we don't pay him directly. His fee will be in the price we pay for the use of electricity.
We pay him.
And
In the
you-
end.
Ultimately, you pay him, but you don't have to write him a check directly. It comes out of the fee that we pay to the rep.
Man, that's your question.
Yes.
Okay, in reference to fees, okay. They can be either upfront or they can hide it into their contract.
Yeah.
Okay? And looking at TASB, all right, they hit enough. Okay, according to what you showed us, they're 0.0039 whatever, cheaper than TXU, I believe, okay? Great the first year. The second year, we don't have an option. They decide how much they're gonna charge us. The fees are gonna go up. We don't have a choice. Once we give them, let's say that we assign you to work with TASB or work with one of these co-ops, if we don't understand the contract because we thought we were smarter, we're gonna get hammered. And we don't have an umbrella whatsoever. Okay? You're looking at thresholds. Well, the bottom portion, the parameters. Might have the top parameter, the bottom one, let it go. We want the cheapest. TASB's contract, this is what you were trying to give us in Wednesday.
Mhm.
That was a 10-year contract. If we go with that, we're nailed.
Well, it was a range, right? They have several year options in there.
All I saw was a 10-year, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay? But I got my notes on here. I can start reading the galore. All right? They're gonna nail this. Okay? Attorney or no attorney. Okay? From what I received from you and I opened today,
Mhm.
this law firm was not part of that. Okay?
Okay,
But regardless, we got hammered. We have a consultant that's proven.
Well,
well,
and just for
I
the,
think we have
just for
plenty
the
of
record,
time.
every member of TCAP got hammered. That
I-
included McAllen and South Padre Island and
Is there what- with
25
respect,
other-
I think we
25
got plenty
other
of
valley.
time.
I think 23 other valley cities or something like that. I mean, Edinburgh and Farm are not part of TCAP. And so, you know, they can pat themselves on the back
Yeah.
that they
See, the
weren't.
thing about
Yeah.
Edinburgh is they
Actually
have,
went to high school with that guy.
oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Anyway,
the thing is, Edinburgh didn't go with TCAP. They went with somebody else. The one thing that they do have in common is a consultant, an electrical engineer who's also a consultant. Okay? So he's got the stripes. He's done his homework.
So-
Okay? So he's not Nostradamus, but he protected Edinburgh and dadgummit, you know what? I want the protection for
Okay,
ourselves.
but Commissioner, everything that you're saying, you're right. And all the information that we're learning from this experience, now they can hash it out. We don't have to hire a consultant to learn from our lessons.
But not to do it again.
The thing is, you're trying to avoid a $26,000 or $30,000 fee.
Any kind of, no,
No,
$150,000 or any
Okay.
fee. I think we don't have to pay
But
for
see-
it if they're going to do it for us. We have consultants already. If you think about it,
Who are the consultants?
our staff and,
That's right.
and the law firm, then they're going to learn from what you are talking about. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't agree
But
with
you're
you to
you're
pay
not
for it.
going with a.
We don't have to go with
You're,
them.
you're not going with a professional.
Wait, yeah, well, hello, yes, we
Yes,
are.
sir.
Yes,
Are
we
they
are.
electrical engineers?
Yeah,
Have they studied?
that's what we're trying, that's why we're asking them to go with options 2 and 3 to go and look
But,
out for the
sir,
same thing that
honestly-
those engineers did. You don't have to be an
Mr.
engineer to
Morales,
do that to
it's very
figure it out.
simple. We go out for 2 and 3. If we don't like the options, we always come back to 1, or like you say, go to 3 only. We have plenty of time to look at it. I just wanted to do due diligence and I just look at it. Because by not taking action and doing 2 and 3, we're not even looking at it. Okay, I like to let them fight for it, let them put a presentation together. If you don't agree with it, don't vote for it. It's really that simple.
Okay, well, we still need a consensus and without Mesmar here, I don't really know. I mean, the consent.
You might be stuck, but
So I'm
I
trying
don't
to
think so.
try that. So really, I'm trying, it depends on,
Ca-
in
ca-
part,
Go
what
with your
Commissioner Pettis.
classmate, go with your classmate.
Wow.
Commissioner Pettis, to answer your question, sir, typically a consultant, I don't know if anybody answered your question.
Well, he's a smart guy. And he went to work and he worked for CPL, AEP, and so, you know,
He knows his stuff.
he has a good resume.
So typically, they include a factor, they refer to it as a 0.01 mil.
The mill you mentioned last time.
So it effectively, for us, at 26 million kilowatt hours, comes out to about $26,000 a year.
But that's divided between us, Waterworks and the airport.
And now, and by board, there's also a fee, or, and I'm talking about by board, but TIPS, TAPS, HGAC, all those state cooperatives. There's also a fee, but it's a 0.5 fee. So it's half the cost.
But is that on a mill or is that on half?
No, it's 0.5 mils instead of 1 mil.
Okay, so
And that's.
if my math is correct, they would be charging 13,000 instead of 26,000.
At 26 million kilowatt hours. It
Okay.
corresponds to the
All
usage.
right. Now, perhaps this consultant that I'm so high on might want to do the same thing. But somebody needs to say, hey, are you willing to work here?
Mr. Arredondo did a great job for Edinburgh. I'm not disputing that. I got the information from Edinburgh. I got their contract. I talked to their city manager. And I think he also did the one for 5. And they
Okay.
didn't get hit with any of the fees that we got hit with. But they're also using TXU. I'm just stating that for the record because that's what they're using. That's
But they
it.
didn't get hit. That's just it. They didn't get hit.
And we learned our lesson. And that's why I'm saying, let's forget about the consulting right now. We have consultants because they've learned from the past mistakes that we made. Let's at least give them the direction, at least today. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll go back to consider a
If they
consultant.
can't do it, then they're not gonna be able to do it.
We'll do the 2-step process on number 2. We'll do the selection first and then authorize me to negotiate. When I negotiate, I'll also pursue number 3 and bring it all back and say, but what I need is authorization to strike when the iron's hot within a parameter. Like Dan, if you get a 3.3, don't wait for a 3.2, just go.
Right.
And if we're not happy with it, we can always go back to looking
Yeah,
at
if you're
it.
not happy with it, don't get mad at me. No, just joking.
No, but the thing is, everything is set up to where this is the direction you're going, okay? And we do have climate change. And we will get hit if we make a bad choice. We've been warned.
It can go the other way too.
I disagree
It
with you.
can.
How much time? I mean, we have time, right?
So,
Because
so
we're
we
still with TK.
we
We're
have
still-
time. The reason that we're bringing this forward is that right now it's not a good time to negotiate contracts, in my opinion. It's hot,
Right.
right? The energy costs are a little higher. I think we have to wait till we get a better timeline. I think September, October, maybe that these gentlemen will disagree. But I think there's a better time to look for pricing. We just want the direction so that we can take advantage of the timeframe.
Yeah.
But no, our existing contract expires December 2022.
Next year.
So we're trying to execute a contract for January 1st, 2023. But we want to take advantage of the months that I think the timeline will give us the best price.
To do your estimate. Exactly. I get that.
That's why we're doing this now as
Yes.
opposed to later.
Right, the best price we've gotten so far has been 3.7 or 3.8 cents all in. So we might be able to get a cheaper price if we,
I think I think you can go get between 3.3 and 3.8 is what I discussed. That's what I,
Well, for those energy providers that are listening, I think 2.8 would be great too. So anyway,
Okay, so you have the direction.
I got it.
You have the direction you need?
got it.
Do you
I,
think we have a
I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm
consensus?
sorry.
I didn't, I wasn't sure we had heard the consensus. Do we
Commissioner
have a
Pettis,
consensus to go forward with the,
we're good with number 2?
not hiring the consultant and going with 2 and 3.
And this is just, we're just gonna go out and check it out and and if we don't get what we got, we can come back and change it, correct?
Okay, all right, then all right, then the commission has direction.
Got it.
We appreciate the work, the thought that Commissioner Morales put into the idea
2 and
of the
3.
consultant.
So 2 and 3.
And there are certainly the pros and cons both ways. Okay, then is there anything else we need to discuss? Does anybody else have any questions or any other discussion?
Good
Okay,
discussion.
then is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, all those in favor say, well, we're adjourned.
Good job, Myla. I don't know the other candidate.